upon a time, in a small wooden cottage near a dark forest in Germany, there lived a poor woodcutter, his wife, and his two children, Hansel and Gretel. Hansel was smart and brave. Gretel was kind and thoughtful. Their mother had passed away long ago, and the woodcutter had remarried a woman who was cold and selfish. Hard times fell upon the family. There was barely enough food to feed everyone. One evening, the stepmother whispered to the woodcutter, "We can barely feed ourselves. The children will starve. Let's take them into the forest and leave them there." The woodcutter was horrified. "They are my children. I could never abandon them." But the stepmother nagged him until he reluctantly agreed. What they didn't know was that Hansel had overheard the entire conversation. That night, when the moon was high, Hansel sneaked out and collected shiny white pebbles from the garden. He put them in his pocket and went back to bed. The next morning, the stepmother gave them each a small piece of bread and led them deep into the forest. As they walked, Hansel quietly dropped the white pebbles along the path. By midday, the stepmother told them to rest under a tree. While Hansel and Gretel napped, she and their father disappeared. When the children woke up, they were alone. But Hansel smiled and said, "Don't worry, Gretel, I left a trail." When night fell and the moonlight shone bright, the pebbles sparkled like stars. Hansel and Gretel followed them all the way back home. The woodcutter was relieved to see them, but the stepmother was furious. Days passed, food ran out again. This time, the stepmother locked the door so Hansel couldn't collect pebbles. The next morning, she gave them one slice of bread and led them even deeper into the woods. Hansel, thinking quickly, crumbled the bread and dropped bits along the way. But birds came and ate all the breadcrumbs. This time, when Hansel and Gretel tried to follow the trail, there was nothing left. They were truly lost in the forest. For 2 days, they wandered through trees and thorns, hungry and tired. Then one morning, they saw something unbelievable. A house made of gingerbread, cake and candy. They ran to it and took bites from the roof and walls. Suddenly, the door creaked open and a sweet voice said, "Nibble, nibble, little mouse. Who's nibbling at my house?" Out stepped a little old woman. She seemed kind and invited them in. "Poor children, come in, eat and rest." Inside the candy house, there were cakes, sweets, and warm beds. Hansel and Gretel thought they were safe, but the old woman was actually a wicked witch who trapped children and ate them. The next morning, she locked Hansel in a cage and forced Gretel to do all the chores. "I'll fatten Hansel and eat him soon." Hansel was clever. Each day, when the near-blind witch asked him to show his finger to check if he was gaining weight, he held out a thin chicken bone. The witch kept thinking he was still too skinny. After a few weeks, she lost her patience. "Gretel, heat the oven. I'll eat your brother today." When the oven was hot, the witch bent down to check the flames. Just then, Gretel shouted, "I don't know how to do it. Can you show me?" The witch stepped forward to explain, and Gretel pushed her hard into the oven and slammed the door shut. The wicked witch screamed, but it was too late. Gretel ran to the cage, freed Hansel, and the siblings hugged tightly. They explored the house and found chests full of gold and jewels. They filled their pockets and left. In the forest, they followed a friendly duck across a river and soon found the path home. Their father welcomed them with tears of joy. The wicked stepmother had disappeared. Now, with love and treasures, they lived happily ever after. Moral of the story: courage, clever thinking, and staying together can help overcome even the darkest times. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like for more videos.